Okay. Okay. Genetics and evolution. Okay. Under this genetics and evolution, we have got three chapters. That is principles of inheritance and variation, chapter 5. Molecular basis of inheritance, that is chapter 6. And evolution, that is chapter 7. Okay. When you observe here, so some introduction related to this unit. The work of Mendel and others who followed him gave us an idea of inheritance patterns. Okay, that means before Mendel also a large number of scientists have conducted certain genetical experiments to study the inheritance pattern, but they were not that much successful. But once the Mendel conducted this hybridization experiments to understand the inheritance pattern, which is very popularized and very understandable the pattern of inheritance. Later it was followed by a large number of scientists to study the inheritance characters in different organisms and with the help, with the different characteristics also. So that means the basic idea how to understand the inheritance pattern was given by Mendel, and which was followed by a large number of scientists later. However, the nature of those, that means in those days, the name, gene, DNA, these terms were not there. So what the Mendel has used means the Mendel used the term factor. The Mendel used the term factor. So, however, the nature of those factors which determine the phenotype was not very clear. So that means the chemical composition of that factor, the structural composition of that factor, all that we doesn't know. Simply what Mendel has said means there are some factors are present in the organism which are inherited from one generation to another generation, and they are involved in determining the phenotype. That means the expressed characters, whatever the characters that are expressed in an organism, all those characters we call it as a phenotypes. So that means the phenotype, whatever the phenotype that is exhibited by an organism, that is because of the presence of that respective factor. But what is the nature of that factor? They are the Mendel doesn't explain. He doesn't know much about that. But these factors represent the genetic basis of inheritance. But what he said that means these factors are the basis for inheritance. And next, understanding the structure of genetic material. That means in the later period of time, to understand the structure of genetic material and to study the structural basis of genotype and phenotype, conversion became the focus of attention in biology for the next century. Because the Mendel has conducted his hybridization experiments in the year 1865. 18 up to 1865, he has conducted the hybridization experiments, and all these results were done. But at that time, we doesn't know much about the structure. The structure. And how what are the different components that are associated with the factor. All we doesn't know. But in the later, that means in the next century, that is in the 19th century, about they have given the factors, but in the 20th century only they came to understand the chemical basis of that factors and the structural basis of that factors which are determining the genotype and phenotype of an organism. So that means that the Mendel has conducted his hybridization experiments in the 19th century, but the structural and the chemical basis of that factors was not given in the 19th century. It was given in the 20th century. So in the next century only, more information about this genetics was came. Only the basis of genetics was given in the 19th century. So that but the entire body of molecular biology was a consequent development with major contributions from Watson, Crick, Nirenberg, Kurana, okay, Kornbergs, okay, father and son, okay, father and son of this Kornbergs, and next Benger, Monad, Brenner, etc. Okay, that means whatever the genetics now we are able to understand, it is only possible only after the Watson and Crick has discovered double helical structure of DNA. Okay, after the structural composition of the structural and chemical composition of the DNA was given by Watson and Crick. Later only the different okay contribution, okay, the discoveries related to this genetics were done by the different scientists later on. Okay, that is. And next, a parallel problem being tackled was the mechanism of evolution. So that means genetics also helped in understanding the evolution of living organisms. Okay, that is so that's why it was included under this genetics. And next, awareness in the areas of molecular genetics. That means okay, not only we have okay, not only we able to understand the inheritance pattern, but we are also able to the okay, that means genetics at a molecular level. That means the chemical composition, okay, the chemical composition of these factors are genes which are involved in determining the genotypes and phenotypes of that organism. And next, structural biology. Okay, structural biology, that means how this genetics helps in determining the structure of an organism. That structural biology also started. And next, bioinformatics, that means okay, here biology integrated with the computer science. Okay, what is the importance of knowing the knowledge about computer science with related to biology, why we are to do, and that will okay, that will be under this bioinformatics. Okay, that okay, new science developed have enriched our understanding of the molecular basis of evolution. So that means by using all these, that is molecular genetics, structural biology, and bioinformatics, all they helped in understanding the evolution at a molecular level. Okay, evolution of organisms at a molecular level, that is the molecular basis of evolution. So in this unit, the structure and function of DNA and the story and theory of evolution has been examined and explained. So in this, we discuss about the genetics and also evolution. Okay, in that genetics, we'll study about the inheritance pattern, and we'll also discuss about the structure and function of DNA. Okay, the structure of DNA and how it helps in determining the characteristics, and how okay and how it helps in evolution of organisms. All will be discussed under this unit. Okay, so first we'll go with the first chapter of this genetics, that is chapter 5, that is the principles of inheritance and variation. So principles of inheritance and variation. Okay, under this chapter, okay, we'll study about Mendel's laws of inheritance. Mendel's laws, that is okay, that means after Mendel has conducted certain hybridization experiments, monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross. After observing this monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross, the Mendel has proposed certain inheritance laws or laws of inheritance, which were often called as the Mendel's laws of inheritance. Okay, first law, third law, like this. Okay, there are three major laws which were proposed by the Mendel. Okay, and okay, those three laws we'll discuss here. And next, inheritance of one gene. Okay, inheritance of one gene, that means Okay, they will take the one gene in consideration or one character in consideration. Okay, and how this gene is transmitted from one generation to another generation. Okay, how it is differed from one generation to another generation when you consider only one character or one pair of genes. Okay, that is one pair of genes which are showing, okay, which are representing only one character. Okay, that will study under this inheritance of one gene, and along with that we'll also discuss about some of the deviation. Okay, some very, okay, all the characters are not showing the laws that are proposed by the Mendel. There are some characters which are showing certain variations or some deviations from the Mendel's laws. Okay, that characters also will discuss here related to one character. In the same way, inheritance of two genes, that means the two pairs of genes which are representing two different characters. So we'll study the inheritance of two genes or two pairs of, okay, two pairs of, okay, genes which are representing two different characters. Also we'll discuss, and we'll also some variations are there. In that also we'll discuss. And second, okay, and the next one is a sex determination. Okay, how the sex is determined at a genetical level. Okay, generally the sex is not determined at the time of the birth. The sex is determined at the time of fertilization only. At the time of fertilization, that means at the okay, at the time when the male gamete fuses with the female gamete, at the time only the sex is determined. How the sex is determined at this fertilization. Okay, it is explained with the genetics. Okay, how genetically the sex of an organism is determined. Okay, and not only that, we'll also discuss about the mutations, that is change in the genetic material, and what are the effects of these mutations, what are the different ways the mutation can occur. And next, the genetic disorders, some of the genetical disorders which are inherited from parents to children. Okay, that is that. Okay, these are the major concepts that we'll study under this principles of inheritance and variation. Okay, that is so we'll go with the introduction to this. So have you ever wondered why an elephant always give birth only to a baby elephant and not some other animal? So we can know very well the tigers will give birth to the cubs. Okay, the elephant will give to small baby elephant. The human will give birth to another human. Okay, the bird, okay, like hens. Okay, the hens will lay eggs. When they are hatched, will get chicks of a hen only. In the same manner, if you take plants also, why a mango seed forms only a mango plant and not any other plant? Okay, that means if you collect a seed from the mango plant and you sow in the soil, it will germinate and give rise to another mango plant. Or okay, if we take peas, okay, it will give rise to pea plant only. Okay, if we take groundnut, it will give plant only, groundnuts. When they are sown in the soil, when they germinate, they give rise to a new groundnut plant. So not any other plant. So how it is determined, how it is obtained, okay, that we can understand with genetics. So given that they do, are the offsprings identical to their parents? Or do they show differences in some of their characteristics? So that means when you observe here, the newly formed organisms, that means the new generation, the offsprings that are produced as a result of this reproduction, they are okay, they are similar to that of the parents. Okay, that means in basic features, that means okay, for example, if we take human, if a new baby is born, okay, he will be having, okay, the new baby will be having two legs, two hands, two eyes. Okay, no, okay, nose, 2 ears. Okay, and they'll have teeth, the body, okay, which is divided into a head, neck, thorax, abdomen. Okay, like this, the same features we can observe. But at the same time, we'll also find some differences also in the characteristics. Even though they are having two eyes, but the two eyes are not same. Okay, there will be slightly change in their shape or structure or color. Okay, even if you take two hands, okay, both are having the two hands, but okay, there might be change in their size, shape. Okay, like this we'll find. So that means we are finding certain similarities. At the same time, we are finding some differences. Okay, that is. Have you ever wondered why siblings sometimes look so similar to each other, or sometimes even so different? Okay, that means if okay, the children who are born to the same parents, sometimes they are very close to one another. They are very similar to one another, especially if you take twins. Okay, the twins almost look similar, but sometimes even okay, the siblings. If we take siblings, that means the born. Okay, okay, the children who are born at different times, like okay, brother or sister. Okay, first brother, next sister, like that. Okay, when you compare this brother and sister, okay, we'll find some similarities. At the same time, we'll find some differences also. Okay, in their characters. Okay, sometimes they look similar, sometimes they look different. You can see. Okay, that is these similarities are showing. Why these differences are showing in the siblings? Okay, if they are born to the same parents, always okay. When you think okay, the both okay, the both the children who are born to the same parent has to be similar, but why they are showing certain differences among them, among the siblings? Okay, that we can understand with this concept of principles of inheritance and variation. So there are okay, these and several related questions are dealt with scientifically in a branch of biology known as genetics. So to understand why they are showing similarities or why they are showing certain differences among the siblings, okay, all this we can understand when you study okay in the new branch of biology, that is the genetics. So this subject deals with the inheritance. Inheritance. What is inheritance? Inheritance means okay, the phenomenon of a transfer of characters from a parents to offsprings. Okay, inheritance means the phenomenon of a transfer of characters from a parents to offsprings, or from one generation to another generation. We are calling it as inheritance. So the genetics mainly deals with the inheritance as well as the variation of characters from parents to offsprings. So when you observe here, when you observe the offsprings that are born to the parents, they are not looking exactly similar. They are showing certain similarities. At the same time, they are showing certain differences. Okay, these differences, whatever the differences that we observe between the parents and the offsprings, or between the different organisms of one population, calling it as variations. Okay, okay, that is so. Here the genetics deals with the inheritance and variation. Inheritance, okay, inheritance means inheritance is the process by which characters are passed on from parent to progeny. So the phenomenon of a transfer of characters from parents to offsprings, we are calling it as inheritance. It is the basis of heredity. So why okay, the offsprings are showing similarities with that of parents means okay, that is that heredity characters. Why we are why the okay, the children are showing okay some hereditary character. That means the characters which are present in their okay ancestors, means it is because of the inheritance. So that is so it is okay, this inheritance is the basis of heredity. And the same time, variation is the degree by which progeny differ from their parents. So variations means differences. Whatever the differences that we are observing, or whatever the changes that we are observing between the parents and the offspring, or progeny and the parents, we are calling it as variations. That differences or that changes, we are calling it as a variations. Okay, that is. Okay, that is. And next, when you observe here, how they came to understand this inheritance and variation. Okay, when you observe here, humans knew from as early as 8,000 to 1000 BC that one of the causes of variation was hidden in sexual reproduction. So we are observing variations from parents to offsprings, especially those organisms which are involved in sexual reproduction. Okay, those organisms which are undergoing sexual reproduction. Okay, in those organisms, we can observe very clearly. Okay, we can observe very clearly. Okay, certain variations between the parents and the offsprings. So, and okay, the reason for this variation between the progeny and the parents is hidden in sexual reproduction, that we know very long before. But what is the reason behind that? We don't know. Okay, variations are caused because of sexual reproduction that is taking place in the organism. That we know very long before around 8,000 BC only. But the reason behind this variation because of sexual reproduction, that we don't know. So they exploited the variations that were naturally present in the wild populations of plants and animals to selectively breed and select for organisms that possess desirable characters. So, okay, while we are studying about strategies for enhancement in food production, we come across, okay, that is the farmers. Okay, the farmers are not okay. They are not, okay. We are calling them as plant breeders because okay, unknowingly only they are undergoing plant breeding. Okay, how means? Because whenever they raise the crops, okay, in that crop, whatever the crop they raised from that, they always select the best quality. Okay, best quality plants which are showing okay, higher yield, disease resistance, like this, and they are made okay, and they are making use of the seeds that are collected from the plants for growing the next season. Okay, and what they are doing means okay, and those plants which are showing better qualities, those plants are collected and they are crossed. Okay, and they are undergone sexual reproduction, and okay, in case of plants or animals, and they have obtained the better ones with the desirable characters. Okay, so that is they don't know that is a hybridation, but still they have undergone. They are not used the term hybridation, but they are undergoing hybridation. So that is okay, by artificial selection. That means not only simply going on with hybridation, but they are undergoing artificial selection by which they are able to develop new breeds. Okay, for example, through artificial selection, domestication from ancestral wild cows, we have well known Indian breeds. So the farmers, okay, either knowingly or unknowingly, okay, by artificial selection and breeding, okay, we have developed some new breeds of cows which are showing some improved qualities. Example, the Sahiwal cow in Punjab. Okay, the Sahiwal cows in Punjab. Okay, that means they developed a new breed of cow called Sahiwal. Okay, in Punjab. Okay, this concept was asked so many times in the examination. Okay, okay, name the cow which was developed by artificial selection and domestication. okay, from ancestral wild cows. That is a Sahiwal cow in Punjab. Okay, this is developed by artificial selection and domestication. That means, okay, through many years they are domesticating the cow now. Okay, in that what they are done, whenever the new progeny was arrived, in that they will select the best ones. So that is the artificial selection. And as they are growing continuously, the domestication is going on. Okay, here they are not okay any specific. They are not collecting from different countries the okay the animals, and they are not going okay within the same breed. Okay, by domestication and by artificial selection. Okay, from the ancestors. Okay, they have developed the new variety or a new breed of cow that is called Sahiwal cow in Punjab. Okay, that is, and we, however, recognize that through our though our ancestors knew about the inheritance of characters and variation, they had very little idea about the scientific basis of this phenomena. So that means they are undergoing a hybridation process. Okay, they are undergoing artificial selection. They are undergoing domestication. Everything they are going on, but okay, that means they are able to that is incorporate certain desirable characters into the new breeds, but they doesn't know the scientific basis of this phenomena. That means what is okay, why these organisms are showing these characters. Okay, when you are breeding, why certain characters are getting eliminated, only certain characters are getting expressed. Okay, they doesn't know anything, simply they are undergoing process, they are obtaining the desirable ones. If they are getting desirable ones, they are continuing. If they are not getting, they are discarding. So that is so they know okay the characters are getting transmitted from okay from parents to progeny. That is, they know the inheritance pattern. Okay, inheritance, and they know the changes are occurred because of sexual reproduction. The variations from parents to progeny is within the sexual reproduction, the variations. So they know about the concept of inheritance and variation, but they doesn't know the scientific basis of that okay inheritance and variation. Okay, the our ancestors. So to give the scientific basis of this phenomena, okay, a large number of scientists have conducted a lot of experiments, but okay, before and after Mendel, but they are not that much successful before the Mendel. Okay, they are only able to successful okay after the Mendel's reaction. Okay, Mendel's experiments only. So first we'll go with Mendel's inheritance. Okay, that is first we'll go with some okay some introduction to this Mendel. It was during the mid 19th century. Okay, it was during the mid 19th century, that is in the year 1856. Okay, the Mendel has conducted his hybridization experiments. That means he started his hybridization experiments in the year 1856, and he conducted his hybridization experiments for about 7 years. Okay, that is for about 1856 to 1863, and finally he concluded all his findings and okay published in the year 1865. That is what we can understand. So the loss of Mendel came in the year 1865, but the experiments were conducted between the 1856 to 1863 of 7 years. That much long time he has taken okay to get his results. Okay, that is so it was during the mid 19th century that headway was made in the understanding of inheritance. So that means okay okay John Gregor Mendel. Okay, that is what is the full name of this Mendel means John. Okay, John Gregor Mendel conducted hybridization experiments on garden peas for 7 years between 1856 to 1863 and proposed the laws of inheritance in living organisms. So he conducted hybridization experiments on a garden pea. Okay, the scientific name of this garden pea is Pisum sativum. is Pisum sativum. Understand? Okay. Okay. Okay, he conducted his hybridization experiments on garden peas for about 7 years and proposed the laws of inheritance in living organisms. That means whatever the findings he obtained from the hybridization experiments of garden pea, he generalized that findings and he concluded that okay, the similar inheritance pattern will be observed with the other characters that we are observing in living organisms. So that's why we okay the general okay that's why we say it as a generalized loss. So that's proposed the loss of inheritance in living organ. But okay, but he conducted experiments on a garden pea. But okay, he generalized that loss to the all the living organisms. That's why we are calling it as a loss of inheritance in a living organisms. Okay, that is. And next, during Mendel's investigations into inheritance pattern, it was the first that statistical analysis and mathematical logic were applied to problems in biology. So that means what happened? Okay, when you observe the John Gregor Mendel, he has conducted certain hybridization experiments now. Okay, by using garden pea. He has not conducted hybridization experiments with respect to only one plant or two plants. It took some hundreds and okay, hundreds or thousands of garden plants into consideration for his sampling of this hybridization experiment. So that means, okay, he has taken some hundreds to thousand different types, okay, different number of plants, okay, of garden pea for his hybridization experiment. So when he was considering such a huge number, okay, it is very difficult to remember all that. So what happened? Whatever the results that he is getting by using these plants hybridization, okay, he tabularized in the form of a statistical information, okay, and some mathematical logic. That means some mathematical expressions are also used, okay, to explain the okay this inheritance pattern. So that means okay, he merged mathematics with the biology to understand the inheritance pattern. Okay, he was the first person. Later what happened? Okay, they have taken one plant, they conducted a certain hybridization experiments, okay, for a one generation or second generation, and they didn't got a proper results and they discarded. Okay, but Mendel has not left in one or two generations. He conducted experiments for about 4 to 6 generations, even up to 7 generation also, okay, to confirm his results. So in that case, what happens? It is very difficult to remember results of all these different generations. So what happened? He maintained certain statistical analysis and he applied certain mathematical logic, okay, to understand this inheritance pattern. And he was the first person to use this because John Gregor Mendel was basically a mathematician. Okay, John Gregor Mendel is basically a mathematician. Okay, but because of the interest on nature, okay, because of the interest on nature, okay, he was okay shown interest in studying these hybridization experiments and explained about the genetics. Okay, here we can see here his experiments had a large sampling size. Okay, that means he didn't taken into consideration one plant or two plant. He has taken some hundreds of plants, okay, for getting the better results. Because one plant, it may okay vary generation to another generation, but if he has taken huge number of plants, okay, he will get a certain better results. That's why his experiments had a large sampling size, which gave greater credibility to the data that he collected. So that means as he has taken a large number of plants into consideration for his hybridization experiments, so okay, that means whatever the results he published, that has got more importance. If he has conducted on one plant, okay, one plant only, okay, they might have taken it okay, lightly, and that may not be taken into consideration. But as he has used huge number, okay, huge number of plants for conducting the hybridization experiments. So that's why, okay, he was more successful and given more credibility, and everyone has, okay, has accepted whatever he has said. And next, all information of his inferences from experiments on successive generations of his test plans proved that his results pointed to general rules of inheritance rather than being unsubstantiated ideas. Okay, when you observe here, that means, okay, he has not undergone this hybridization experiments for one generation. Okay, whatever the progeny that is obtained in the next generation, he confirmed that that organism is showing, okay, the same characters or not. Again, he undergone certain a hybridization experiment to confirm that this plant is showing the same inheritance pattern. Okay, that means he has not left for a one generation to understand the inheritance pattern. He has undergone several generations. Okay, he has undergone several generations of the hybridization experiments to understand the inheritance pattern. Okay, that's why. Okay, that means as he has conducted the hybridization experiments for several generations, okay, and he has got the similar results. Then, okay, then that's why most of the scientists in those days also accepted. Okay, this might be observed in all the other organisms. So this inheritance pattern which he observed in garden pea was applied to other organisms also, and they finally given this okay, this generalized rules of inheritance. And next, okay, Mendel investigated characters in the garden pea plant that were manifested as two opposite traits. Okay, that is when you observe the Mendel. Okay, Mendel has conducted certain hybridization experiments. No, okay, whenever he was conducting the hybridization experiments, initially, always he has selected, okay, the plant which is showing two traits for that character. Okay, two traits for that character which are of opposite. Okay, for example, when he has selected the stem height, okay, that means he want to understand the inheritance pattern of a stem height. Okay, now what he has done means he has selected two varieties or two traits of that stem height, that is tall and dwarf. Tall pea plant and dwarf pea plant. For example, if he wants to know the inheritance pattern of a flower color, okay, flower color in pea plant, then he has selected two varieties or two varieties of pea plant which are showing two different traits or opposite to traits, that is violet color flowers and white colored flowers. Okay, the pea plant, one pea plant which is producing violet colored flowers and one pea plant which is producing white flowered plants. So that means for one character there are two opposite traits. Every time you have selected such characters only. Okay, for example, if you have selected the seed color yellow, green, pod shape, okay, inflated, constricted, that is okay, straight without any wrinkles, straight normal, and one is wrinkled, that is showing different shapes. Like that, every time when he has selected to undergo the hybridization experiments, always he has selected okay, two opposite characters. Okay, we can see for stem height we can see tall or dwarf plants. Okay, for seed color yellow or seed, okay, green seeded plants. Okay, like that he has selected, and this allowed him to set up a basic framework of rules governing inheritance, which was expanded on by later scientists to account for all these diverse natural observations and the complexity inherent in them. Okay, when you observe here, one thing you have to remember, ma. Okay, whatever the laws that we are studying now, okay, which we are saying as a Mendel's laws of inheritance, that Mendel's laws of inheritance were not proposed by Mendel. Whatever the laws, Mendel's laws of inheritance are in the, okay, laws of inheritance that we are studying, okay, they were not proposed by the Mendel. Okay, the basic idea of this laws of inheritance was given by Mendel. Okay, and whatever the findings that the Mendel has got by undergoing this hybridization experiments of this hundreds and hundreds of plants, pea plants. Okay, they were not known to the world initially because at that time there is no proper communication. Okay, now we have got internet. Okay, simply when you type, okay, in the Google, we'll get everything. But in those days, such things are not there. No, what why he was not means whatever the findings, the Mendel has got after undergoing this hybridization experiments, okay, all those findings were published in a newspaper in the form of journal. Okay, it didn't even publish book, it didn't even published any book. Okay, that is that means every for every, okay, two, okay, 1 month or 2 months, okay, whatever the results that he got, okay, in that okay, in the local newspaper he used to publish. Okay, in those days, okay, who are reading this newspaper? Only a very few people are able to read the newspaper. Okay, they only know about this concepts. But later, after a period of long, later after, okay, some scientist, some other scientist have studied that inheritance pattern, and again, okay, that means whatever the procedure that the Mendel has followed, again they conducted the experiments in a similar fashion, and they confirmed that whatever the Mendel has published in the newspaper is correct, and later only the Mendel's laws, okay, the laws were proposed. But the basic idea of this inheritance was given by Mendel. That's why they were given the okay, this credibility to this Mendel. That's why they were called as the Mendel's laws of inheritance. That's why we can say here this allowed him to set up a basic framework of rules governing inheritance. That means he has not proposed direct, okay, okay, proposed the Mendel's laws, but he only gave the basic framework of rules governing inheritance, okay, which was expanded on by later scientists to account for all the diverse natural observations and the complexity inherent in them. So that means later, okay, that means okay, that means at that time, okay, the okay, biology, okay, biology scientists are there, no, botany, some botany related scientists or zoology related scientists, but they doesn't have much idea related to maths. But what this Mendel has done, Mendel has integrated biology with maths. But in those days, this biology related scientists are unable to understand the concept that was given by this Mendel. But later, some other scientists have understand the complexity related to that concept which was proposed by the Mendel. And later, okay, whatever the observations that were obtained from the pea plant, okay, this garden pea plant, that were later applied to other characteristics of other organisms, and they found they're showing the similar inheritance pattern. And finally, okay, they proposed this Mendel's laws of inheritance. Okay, that is okay, that's why Mendel was much successful when compared to other scientist. Okay, that means before Mendel also a large number of scientists have worked out, but all they are not that much successful. The Mendel is successful. Why? Because okay, he was conducted experiments for several generations, and whatever the results that he has got, all they are okay, properly maintained in a statistical form. Okay, that is the introduction to this Mendel's experiments.